Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and I am in Santa Monica, California today at AI Vibes. Tal Navarro and her team are putting on an amazing event, and today I snagged from the stage right after his panel, Don Allen, who is a creator. And first off, hey, Don, I just want to say welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
All right, so first thing first, how much fun are you having? What's going on?
I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah. What was the panel about that you just came off of?
Well, the panel, we were just talking about the creator economy and how it relates and how we think about it with regards to AI. How does that impact it?
Yeah. What were some of the highlights or the things that you took away from it? Because I know when I'm on a panel, I'm always learning from the other panelists too. Like what did you get out of it?
Yeah, for me, I got out of it that there's going to be a mixed approach to how the creator economy goes. I was thinking that there might be kind of a split. Some people are going to go more into the AI world, and others are going to diverge strong from it. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Do you hear that? Sorry. My glasses were talking.
Oh no, that's great. I actually don't want to cut that out. So you're a creator. So tell me about the glasses too. Like I want everybody to hear about this because this is cool. This is awesome. First time that I've seen some people do it, but I haven't seen anybody actually actively use them. So I love that your glasses were talking. But circle back to what you're saying. You were saying some people are going to go into it, some are going to go away.
Yeah. So with regards to the creator economy, I think the conversation landed on how there's going to be a need for current day content creators to show more of their human side online because there's going to be an oversaturation of synthetic. So whether that means showing more of your human process, more of your human errors and imperfections and flaws in your work, versus just trying to make things look super perfect and precise, which is going to start looking more synthetic.
Where do you fall in line as a creator, like on that continuum, if you will?
I dance between the two.
Yeah, so you're in the middle, a solid middle.
No, I just dance between the two.
Oh, you dance. So it depends on the project. It depends on the use case.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's really important to be fully human and not have any AI in my process. And other times I think it's better to have all AI in my process.
Wow.
And then sometimes I think it's good to do a little mixture of the two.
Yeah, I think as I've gotten further and further in it all, I think that it's interesting. So we're shooting, by the way, for everybody that's watching this. This is the first time I've used this camera. This is an AI camera. So
nice.
This is my first AI camera. So
Sorry, I'm going to take these out because I don't want them to hear my private messages.
Oh, got it. So would I have ever thought that I was going to be using an AI camera? I mean, of course I'm in. Like we're going to use one. Like I'm in. And now after I've done it, I've seen some of the benefits, I've seen some of the limitations, but overall, like for certain events, like this is the way I'm going. So the AI side of things, and then I can see what you're saying, like other things where you wouldn't want to use it if we're at a different type of event where I'm like, no, I can't, like, it's got to be a little bit of a different feel. It's great, but I think it circles back to me for like authenticity on the project, right? Like what it calls for. Like what do you think? Like how does this affect authenticity overall?
Well, I think at least for me and like my brand, it's about being authentically me. So the person you see on Instagram is the same person you're going to meet right here. There's no difference between the two.
Hold on, for better or worse, right? That's what I tell other people. I'm like,
Really?
for better or no, I mean for me, like for better or worse, like flaws and all, right? Like that's what you're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it should be. At least in my personal opinion, I think it should be the same person that we're seeing.
Yeah.
But then I'm also running different and generating my own AI avatars that
Amazing.
talk and on my behalf. I have an AI lawyer that I made that reads all my contracts and reviews things for me on the first draft before I sign off a thing. So it's like,
How much time has that saved you? Like that's a great use case. How much time would you say? I'm not holding you to the hour. Like being able to do that and not having to do that. What would you say that saved you in time?
I mean, maybe it would have taken me a day to review a contract.
Wow.
And now it takes me about 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe less.
Oh, so now, come on. So all the people out there that are hesitant and they're just anti, you just heard you save a day for contracts. I'm sorry, and I'm not to the lawyers out there. I don't need any emails, nothing like that. But like, I don't personally get inspired creatively by reading contracts.
Right.
So if that's your thing, by the way, not judging anybody, right? Sure. But like, you found a way to get out of and not have to do it quite as much as and spend a day on it, and now you spend 15 minutes reviewing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's a great use case scenario. And so what does that free up your time to do? Specifically, what kind of projects, like what kind of things do you like to work on and create?
Yeah, I mean, I like to make a lot of concept videos where I show people. I make videos around like 2 or 3 technologies that exist today. I try to make a visual example of what happens when all 3 of those converge
Yeah.
at some point in the future. So now it's more time for making those fun experimental short films. More time to write the stories, more time to like find a fun location.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I change my job title every 3 weeks. So I'm not even doing the same stuff I was doing 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to say, like, oh, like, what are you just going
So
to
when
start
we
doing?
asked you when you came in, hey, do you got what's your business card or whatever? Like,
Yeah, I
you're,
was like-
you're laughing. You're like, man, I'm not swapping out business card every 2 weeks. I love it. I love it.
Well, I don't think you should be anymore.
I don't either.
Like, I mean, like if you're in this idea that who you are is tied to a card, then that's like a dangerous spot to be for the creator economy, in my personal
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
It should be something that's adapting and changing. If your card has the ability to transform,
Yep.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's funny because every time we print new cards for me, it's always a different design. And now at this point, we have like probably like 10 different cards depending what type of event or where we're going. And then we also have the digital one from like a link tree or something like that, like QR type deal. But it makes sense. So for when somebody's like to me, I'll use the word stagnant, not putting this word in your mouth, but when they're stagnant and they got themselves in this box, like you said, that part you did say, when things start moving fast, it's going to be very difficult for them to keep up. We do a lot in publishing, and I like to talk about this example. Amazon, and you may know this or you may not, but Amazon for their audiobooks, we're part of a beta, and they just literally maybe like a month or two ago, we did an experiment. We do a lot of books, and literally I think we did our audiobook for something we already had published, 10 minutes.
The whole thing.
It was literally put, and it didn't have to take 10 minutes, but I just wanted to be a little bit more thorough and look at it. It could have been 5 minutes. And you get to pick the voice, you get to do this, you get to do that. And it was, was it for this particular book? It was a business book. It wasn't something that needed like a lot of acting, or it was just going to be straight delivery anyway. It was going to be pretty steady. It was that niche where AI made sense. Would that make sense maybe for a book that has a particular like high bit of energy or this special delivery that's needed? Maybe not. So I'm not saying that they like replaced humans on that, but I can tell you that my company, we stopped, we said any marketing or anything that we have to do that's going towards growing our audiobook division, kill it.
Right.
In one email.
Yeah.
That was done. So years of planning otherwise. But it's okay because then you take those same resources and then you use them other places. Like you figure out like other things and other projects and other ways to keep it new.
Yeah, so like my wife, she actually used to be a voice actress, and she did a lot of audiobooks manually.
Wow.
Had a whole microphone set up, converted like a whole closet into a microphone set up for good sound, would have these 7, 8, 9 hour day recordings trying to do an audiobook. And as she started learning about AI, and I would show her stuff, and she'd see stuff on her own, she's completely pivoted away from audio because she's like, that industry's done.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing like long form audio content, like audiobooks, like, and you said, you know, maybe you can't talk about like the, you know, a lot of acting and stuff.
Yeah.
That's already changing.
Yeah.
Like this week, I saw a tool that actually has very, very impressive emotional states that you can hear in the generated audio. They're not bad at all. In fact, someone might just think it's a good act. It might be like a good performance.
For sure.
But it was just text as the input, and then the output is an emotional audio performance.
Yeah.
So we're already past the idea of it just being for the audio facts and very clear, stable, monotone delivery. Yeah. That's already last week.
Yeah. What excites you right now? Like
Everything.
you have a unique vantage point, like being a creator and like in AI, and because you're on both sides of it. For me, I'm a little slow. I'm a slow adopter only because it's more of a tool to like, but I'm not proactively. My team does. My team they figure out things and like, oh, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. But like what excites you right now? It could be technology, it could be otherwise. Like what gets you fired up?
Just the fact that people are going to be forced to adapt.
Yeah.
I'm excited like by that.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. I feel like there's a lot of things that I wasn't thrilled with in reality that have not adapted, like the education system, legal system, political systems. And I feel like now, whether or not they like it, it's all going to be forced to adapt.
When did you kind of take that role of creator? Were you always like growing up as a kid? Were you always like when did you kind of walk into your shoes as a creator and be like, I'm a creator? Like, or is it natural? Like, was it a progression?
I mean, honestly, just to repeat, I change my title every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe this week it's important to be a creator. Last week I would have said like Bob Ross of the metaverse. Then maybe a month before that it would have been like AI consultant. Then a few months before that I would have said more like 3D, 3D asset creation.
Wow.
So I really don't like
Yeah.
having a.
How about entrepreneurial? Do you think is that a type of something that you would call yourself, like entrepreneurial?
Yeah, that sounds more aligned.
Yeah. Have you always been entrepreneurial, like when you were growing up, or like?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
What was your, if you don't mind me asking, what was your first business? Do you remember?
Yeah, I
I'll
do.
tell you mine. Mine was baseball cards. Like I used to sell
nice.
baseball cards at school, and like I wasn't my friend was the candy person, like, and he sold the candy, and then another friend was like the comic book person. Like that's how I grew up. What was your first business?
My first one is I learned how to use Photoshop, and I used to edit people's MySpace profile.
Come
pictures.
on. Come on. Really? You were that far ahead thinking of that? That's amazing.
I was a little kid.
Wow.
I was like very little. I wasn't even in high school yet.
So do you think you had an eye for it? And like how does that happen? Like, that's amazing, by the way. Because and just for perspective, for everybody out there that doesn't know, the younger people that may watch this that don't know what
they're
what
not gonna know
MySpace is, that's the beginning of it all. That's the begin. I would argue it's the beginning of social media. I don't know anything else that was before that. Maybe there was something else, and it wasn't social media then. But to be thinking, people weren't really thinking about their picture or their representation of how they looked online back then. Like there was no, so that would have been like a big ordeal to be editing a picture, or for somebody to have the thought process to do it.
I think that was around 2006 for me.
Wow. Were you into photography before that, or like kind of
No,
like
I was a little kid in elementary school.
what?
Yeah.
And you did MySpace kind of like speak to you? Like did you just understand kind of like it, or did you?
Well, no, I just like actually, it was illegal for me to have a business. So thank God that year, I think PayPal came out. So I made a PayPal account and I was able to take money so that I could edit people's profile photos. I acted like I made a website using an old app that's expired called Dreamweaver. I learned how to use
Oh my
Dreamweaver.
gosh, that's amazing.
I made this Dreamweaver website where you can basically see what kind of photos I've edited before and after. And if you like it, you hit this button and it emails me. I was a kid. I mean, I was
That
like
is
a kid.
amazing.
Made it seem like I was a whole graphic design studio. I was not. There was no team.
Wow.
It was just me behind a computer and my dad. My dad helped me with like getting Photoshop and getting that installed. And then I was like, oh, but he didn't even know how to use it.
Of course not. Nobody like
all right, here's the tool. I think the first version of Photoshop I had wasn't even in English. Like all the characters on it were not in English.
Wow.
So it might not have been a legitimate version of Photoshop
Sure.
now that I think about it.
Sure.
As a kid, I was like, oh, it's interesting. So I just learned off of all the icons.
Yeah.
And then used that as like my teaching tool.
Wow.
And then as a kid, I was like, okay, I'm going to start accepting payments from PayPal. And I learned right then, like, I guess I started as an entrepreneur right there. I was still, I think, just finishing middle school when I was like, oh, people want cool MySpace photos and they'll pay for it. They'll pay actual cash for
Oh my
that. And
gosh.
they'll send that cash digitally through PayPal. Unbelievable.
This is an epic discovery. Like you're a legend as far as I'm concerned. You were a kid doing selling PayPal and had your own graphic. I know you don't like titles, but you were a graphic designer. You had your own studio back then before people knew what that was. That's hilarious. I love it. It's amazing. Well, Don, I know you got to get back to the conference. I just want to say I appreciate you coming on the show today. I want you to look into the camera and let people know how they can follow you, how they can connect and see your creations and what you do.
Sure. Hello. Thanks for having me. My name is Don Allen III. If you type that in on any social platform, I should pop up.
Fantastic. And for everybody that's watching, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing on new guests, new founders, new creators, new amazing people. Definitely hit that subscribe button because we don't want you to miss a thing.